Dear students, in this unit 3, we are still on transformation because transformation is something which is very vital for business success. Transformation for the sake of achieving a strategic objective. Transformation not just for the sake of transformation, because another company is transforming, then you need to transform. That's not true. I have been able to give you an example of how, under the leadership of Yogesh Deveshwar, ITC transformed itself from being just a tobacco company in 1998, and it had, of course, some hotels also. It had some 8 to 10 properties. From that, it transformed into a company where 50% of the revenue, in fact, almost 55% of the revenue is coming from non-tobacco product. This is a planned transformation, long-term transformation, systematic transformation, a transformation to achieve the strategic business objective of not just being a tobacco company. So it's a strategic shift. This means it is changing the very essence of the company. Once again, it means it is changing the very essence of the company to a new focus. I have come across a website called BIE executive.com. I have given the source in the slide. It describes how business transformation is expressed. Different types of business transformations are expressed by Harvard Business Review HBR. First of all, we now understand that BT is a change management strategy. BT, by BT I mean business transformation. It is a change management strategy which can be defined as any shift, realignment, or fundamental change in business operations. I repeat myself, BT is a change management strategy which can be defined as any shift, realignment, or fundamental change in business operation. So three things are there. It's a shift, realignment, or fundamental change in business operations. What is the aim? Aim of the change is to make people, process, people and systems, or you can say technology, to better align the company with business strategy and vision. Once again, the company has a strategy for future, the company has a vision, so you have to change people. Okay, change people does not mean you remove all the old people and you bring in new people. It can be retraining, changing the orientation, changing the mindset of the people. So to change the processes, of course, you have to change the processes. You can change your production process, you can change your marketing process, you can change your HR processes, you can have major shift in your business policies. Even you can come up with a new ethical standards, better ethical standards. So the aim of BT is to make, first I have told you what is BT. It's a change management strategy. Then BT is to make changes in the process or processes, people's, technology, systems, to align the company with business strategy and vision. So two components: business strategy and vision, and company. Business strategy and vision is here, and company is here. So you need to align the company. So if the business strategy here, company is here, it won't work. So you need to align them together. You have to align them. Okay. So this is company, and this is your business vision. And company has components. It has got people, one people, two systems, three processes, technology, four can be your value systems, and leadership, everything. Processes, people, systems, uh, ethical processes or philosophy, leadership, everything has to be aligned with business strategy and vision. This is transformation. So if this is missing, this is missing, if this is missing, once again, and you have transformed the company, so it has no meaning, because it must have a vision कि आप देख कहाँ रहे हो. तो आप कुछ देख रहे हो ना, तभी तो आप ट्रांसफॉर्म करोगे. मुझे यहाँ पहुंचना है, तो आप ये ट्रांसफॉर्मेशंस लेके आओगे, राइट? So this is what I have taken this from this website. And just to recapitulate, why should a company might consider transformation? There could be a new technological shift in the market. The market has shifted from the two-wheeler market has shifted from two-stroke engine to four-stroke engine. The car technology has shifted to conform to the new emission standards, right? Technological within the market. It is that you visualize that with the current scenario you will not be able to achieve the same turnover or profit, or there could be some merger, there could be some acquisition. So these are the reasons. Okay. uh, so if in case of merger and acquisition, so entire two companies, both the companies, they need to be involved in a merger and integration. So you need to transform all processes. I gave you the example of Exxon and Mobil. I will give you the example of when in I think in the year 2000 2000 around either it was between 2002 and 2004, 2003 and 2004, there was a company called IBP in India. IBP merged with Indian Oil Corporation. In fact, Indian Oil Corporation bought IBP for 1,000, 2,000 crores. Or I don't remember, because there is one Mr. Narang, chairman, former chairman of IOC, told me IOC paid around 1 crore for each petrol pump. He said you can assess it like this. So when the integration take place, there has to be a transformation. New people have to be accommodated. IBP had so many companies, so only its oil division got merged. So there were petrol stations competing in a trading area. Okay, they had their own installations at some places. So business transformation process took place essentially for IBP. Okay. Okay, or it may also involve a change in a specific function. For example, IT, HR, or finance. Coming back to ExxonMobil, when they started a system of JD Edward. JD Edward system was started. It was a system of enterprise resource and planning, and we had to suspend sales for some days till JD Edward JDE was implemented. There was a very we had an old salesman who was not so much aligned with the technology. He was a super salesman. So he told him, I saw him how he was explaining to one of the distributors. So JDE was to be implemented. So he was telling एक नए चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव आ गए हैं जेडी एडवर्ड साहब. Whereas JD Edward is the name of the software, name of the system. नए जेडी एडवर्ड साहब आए हैं, तो उन्होंने कुछ चेंज करने को बोला है. So because we had to align the supply chain management, logistics process in line with this. So business transformation. Harvard Business Reviews, it says there are three type of business transformation. One is operational, making changes to the way to make operations better, faster, cheaper, speedier. For example, digital transformation. Okay, I gave you the example of JD Edward when it was implemented. Digital transformation. There is a company called Priority Software. It is again a ERP company, so very big company in Israel. So and has many clients. I had the cost to work with this software, excellent software. So if a company wants to do away with the manual system of bookkeeping and invoicing and stock keeping and generally enterprise resource management, so they will have to make a operational transformation, digital, for example. Or if a company, let us take the example of an Indian corporation, when it was completely shifting from small filling gun technology. Filling gun technology was you have to fill cylinders, and there was a filling gun. You would take a filling gun by hand and fill it up, and then wait. So from that, it shifted to a system of carousel. There are two companies, Chris Plant and Kusan. They were making carousel. Carousel means something which goes round and round. So it was a machine, and it had filling guns. So automatically, by way of pneumatic pressure, a cylinder would go into a filling point. The carousel gun will come down. It will attach itself to the self-closing valve of a cylinder, and it will go around, and after it has filled 14.2, it will shift it, kick it outwards. So operational transformation. Core transformation is moving to a fundamentally different way of operating. So suppose there is a company, mobile company, which is mainly dependent upon selling through dealers. So it has a huge distributor in India, and the distributor buys from Taiwan or Korea, and it is distributing through to various dealers. And the company decides, no, we will no longer have this system. We will only have a tie-up with Amazon or Flipkart, something like that. So this is another type of transformation. This is core transformation, fundamentally different way of operating. Then there is strategic transformation, changing the very essence of the company to a new focus, like ITC. I will give you more examples in the coming slide. So three type of transformation: operational transformation, core transformation, and strategic transformation. Once again, in this slide, I am still trying to elaborate further, because transformation is something I want you to have a very good understanding about. I have taken this from the website called BIE. BIE actually is a senior level recruitment companies that work with many big conglomerates, many big corporates for senior level recruitments. And they also do this exercise of studying the best practices and the success stories of big companies. So they have given an entire chapter on business transformation from their website, on their website, and I have chosen to take this from that website. Now they are giving an example of operational business transformation, and it says General Motors is a prime example of the company that successfully has undergone an operational business transformation. I was reading an interview of the CIO of General Motors, and he says they have set up many centers of excellence for information technology and data management at many campuses in United States. And he says from being a company that had outsourced 90% of the IT jobs, they now have insourced 90% of the outsourced jobs. So they are in the extreme. If it is a pendulum, if they were here, now they have come here 90%. Only 10% of the IT works they are outsourcing, and so they hired more than 10,000 IT professionals by replacing contractors. Why? Because General Motors around 2015, 2016, they realized that mobility business will be a lot about artificial intelligence. It will be a lot about machine to machine technology, and lot of IT component will go into car manufacturing and car making. And even in terms of convincing people to buy your cars, you need to come out with uh, substantially different kind of offerings to offer to the consumer. And they thought that the key to it was to uh, uh, be a top technology leader in the business of mobility. Mobility, remember, they're calling it mobility, not car manufacturing or truck manufacturing or automotive manufacturing. Mobility. So they recruited the best talent, and they recruited the best guy. And let me see if I'm able to read out from the interview of. Yes, the guy is Randy Mott, and he says, I am responsible for global IT strategy and all IT assets of of General Motors, and he reports to the CEO. And uh, to quote him, he says we went to a fully insourced model from what was previously a 90% outsourced IT workforce. We were on the far end of the spectrum in terms of outsourcing, and we have swung to the other side of the pendulum. And he says in the US, we have created four innovation centers located in Southeast Michigan on our Warren campus, downtown Detroit, Austin, outside of Atlanta, and just outside of Phoenix. And he says, uh, We have built two state-of-art LEED certified enterprise data centers with full business continuity. Because of this, we have consolidated all the data center operations, which were previously spread across 23 different geographical centers to different level of age and technology. These and other initiatives allowed us to increase the amount of innovation. So they were able to achieve the amount of innovation which was delivered in a faster manner. What was the magnitude of innovation? He says it is roughly 10 times, 10 times, while reducing the cost. And I am reading this from the Forbes.com, and Randy Moth, he says, I am responsible for global IT strategy and all IT assets, and I report to our CEO Mary Barra, and he joined them in February 2012. So, and he is on the board, and he says much of the cost reduction in the company has come from automating a number of manual processes within IT. Specifically, this involves providing automation for IT on run business sides of things. So, this is a great example of how operational business transformation has achieved substantial, substantial cost saving and delivering 10 times more innovation to the company. So I thought I should share this, and I will give you the example of core business transformation also. BIE has given the example of Netflix story when it talks about the core business transformation. Core business transformation means that there is a sea change in the way you are doing your business. I gave you the example of operational business transformation, rather BIE from the BIE website. I am merely, I'm retelling you the story which is written in that great website. General Motors, how IT, the usage of IT from outsourcing to insourcing to building a in-house model of IT, hiring more than 10,000 IT engineers, how it transformed General Motors. That was operational business transformation. Now, in case of Netflix story, it is the core business transformation. The story of Netflix, how it started as a company which used to rent out DVDs, which used to rent out DVDs from garages, and how it transformed into a company which has got today 182 million subscribers worldwide. And it is not only sharing information in not entertainment with its subscribers, it has gone into original content creation. There are movies which are released on the OTT platform, and Netflix is the leader. There are many companies which have come, but it remains a leader. And the transformation of how it shifted its core business methodology from how Netflix transformed its business, the core business transformation, the complete methodology changes, renting out DVDs. Later on, it went into a digital platform. It's very interesting. I have tried to research it also. And Netflix, actually, it began in April 1998. It started renting out DVDs by mail, and it was pay for use model, and it changed its proposition to a streaming service now. And what did they do? What did they do? Because they were ahead of their time. They were ahead of their time, and they were able to visualize what was the customers need. They always thought that the customers was looking for more comfort. So it from renting out DVDs by mail, it it was a game changer at that time also, because mostly the cassettes used to be sold out then. At that point in time, the market was dominated by companies who were giving out the cassettes, and only 2% of American households in 1998, only 2% of American households had uh, DVD players. So they took a huge risk, but Netflix, it estimated quite early. It had estimated quite early that people will have DVD players because you know the ease of watching a movie by renting out a DVD compared to those thick video cassettes was quite was they did business survey, they could understand, they could fathom that the business will change. And by use embracing the technology, so first of all they started a system wherein people could online order DVDs at the doorstep. So there was a site, people used to go to that site and they would say, okay, I want to see a movie Dirty Harry, and it would be delivered to your house uh, in Arizona or Philadelphia or wherever you have. And so online delivery of DVD, and from online delivery of DVD, they started the streaming services through OTT channel, over the top channel. So there are now there are serials which are exclusive for Netflix. Now there are movies which are released exclusively for Netflix. So this is the core business transformation from being just a DVD renting company which used to rent out DVDs from mall. It became a original content creator, and it is streaming services to its subscribers. This is a great success story. This is an example of core business transformation. In strategic transformation, the website gives an example of Apple. Apple has become the first US company to hit a market capitalization of $2 trillion. What is market capitalization? Number of shares outstanding in the market, number of shares in the market multiplied by the market value of that company. So market capitalization can change every day. At the end, whenever whatever is the stock value today, that multiplied by number of shares. See, this is an arbitrary milestone, but it is a significant one all the time. And it's a testimony to the pandemic defying performance of iPhone maker. Pandemic defying. You have to understand that it is only just 2 years since Apple hit that 1 trillion market capitalization, 1 trillion. And today it has become 2 trillion. So essentially, in 24 months, essentially Apple has doubled its market value. Is it not remarkable? 2 trillion. Remember, India is aiming to become 5 trillion economy in 5 years' time. It is not that Apple is the first company in the world to hit a 2 trillion benchmark. Saudi Aramco, the gas and oil company which is in Saudi Arabia, it briefly hit 2 trillion mark in December 29, but has since then dropped. So today Apple is at 2 trillion. Although Apple is facing a string of regulatory headwinds regarding ecosystem of apps that underwrites its hardware, but it's notable that it has become 2 trillion. And how much is it is said that iPhone has got Apple 1 trillion, and services arguably got it up to 2 trillion. Can it be there? Can it remain at 2 trillion? Well, we do not know. But what we know is that Apple is today one of the most valuable companies in the world. It produces digital gadgets, including Macs, iPods, iPhones, and iPads. So Macs is still Macintosh, iPods, iPod, the music system, iPhones, you all know. The company was founded in 1979 by two young hackers, Steve Jobs and Wozniak. Steve Wozniak. Steve Jobs, as you know, is no more. And its second product was Apple II, and Macintosh was released in '84. But The Apple, it is not that Apple became a sensation overnight. Its struggle began when in 1985 Steve Jobs was ousted from the board of Apple, and when he was recalled, when he was recalled, he achieved. He was recalled when he came back. It was brink of, almost on the brink of bankruptcy, almost. And why was it on the brink of bankruptcy? Because at that time it was just making personal computers, and its own personal computers were considered much much less attractive than the current leaders. So how did Steve Jobs turn around Apple? It's a very interesting story. He acted decisively. When he came back, he cancelled 70% of Apple's product. See, this is what I mean by strategic transformation. 70% of the Apple's product. Do you think it's a small thing? It's a huge risk that you are cancelling 70% of your company's product. And he laid off 3,000 people. In 1997, Apple had a $1 billion loss, and in 1998 it had 300 million profit. This is transformation. When he came, 1 billion loss, and in 1 year it was 300 million profit because of decisive action, strategic transformation. He cancelled the existing 70% of existing products and laid off nearly 3,000 people. He unveiled iMac in 1998. iMac. It sported a colorful, curvy look, and it looked one of the most affordable computers that Apple had made. In 2001, he released iPod Music Player, and in 2010, it brought about iPad, the tablet, and after that, one after the other, new products were brought in. Steve Jobs was a genius at marketing. He came back, he returned to Apple with this ad of Think Different ad campaign. If possible, I'll try to include this in the slide, unless it is subject to copyright issues. And by way of iPhone, then the floodgates opened. So today, Apple, it has always been among the top five most valued companies in the in the world, most valued companies in terms of market capitalization. So he achieved this by strategic transformation, and we know how successful is Apple today. I have a figure of I have a chart with me which is on the Vox.com, and it's a 2014 Apple's revenue figures, and it's interesting. iPod and accessories were making, 8 billion dollars. 1 billion is 100 crore, as you know. Then 19 billion dollars were iTunes softwares and services. Then Macintosh was making around 24 billion dollar. So iPod and accessories were making 8 billion. 18 billion was iTunes software. 24 million was Macintosh. iPad was making around 30 billion dollar, and iPhone 102 billion, $102 billion in 2014. We will try to come, and but this is called strategic transformation. From just making personal computers, then you diversified into iPod, iPad, and then iPhone, and then software makes you lot of money. You keep on upgrading the software services of Apple. It makes a lot of money. So isn't it great to be valued a 2 trillion US dollar company in market capitalization, among the top five, and to have dislocated even Saudi Aramco briefly and having occupied the number one slot? So this is strategic transformation. I think it's a very good example of strategic transformation. In this part of the presentation, we will like to see what are the major drivers or the need for business transformation. First is the business change. As technology advances, businesses are looking for ways to leverage new opportunities to improve their business, whether it is a move to a cloud-based system or automation or certain processes. So technology changes at the top front. As I explained to you that in case of, for example, the two-wheeler market, the technology mandated to go into four-stroke manufacturing, engine manufacturing rather than two-stroke, and the technology change meant that you had to change your entire processes. Your plant had to be upgraded, and you had to bring in new people, new team. Second thing is efficiency drive. If in an organization the goals and objectives are not being met, then this failure may trigger to find some efficient ways of working. This may involve assessing all the processes and removing activities which are duplicate activities. It can also lead to removing some of the structures, delayering the organization, and transforming the organizational structure, or digital transformation with the integration of new technology. So, to bring in efficiency, you may have to transform an organization. Third thing is cost out or cost reduction. High cost or the need for cost saving may trigger change within the organization to reduce outgoings, whether it is in certain areas or it is across business. Because one way of remaining profitable is to have more sales and more profits, or it is to reduce cost. So cost reduction can be a huge driver, or it can necessitate change or transformation. Lack of business growth is fourth. So your current operations may not allow you the time and resources to focus on innovation and growing the business. So lack of, as was the case of General Motors, a company which is stagnant over time, it may look for new businesses. Suppose a company is making elevators, industrial lifts, and if the growth is stagnant, it may have to go for making elevators or lifts for residential buildings, because more and more buildings are coming. There is a business growth there, or it may change the way of doing business. Suppose a elevator company says, we will continue to own the elevator at your building. We will maintain the elevator. You have to pay us on a per day usage basis. See, it's a complete transformation of a business model, isn't it? So a elevator company or a lift company will say, lift हमारी है, इसको हम लगाएंगे, हम maintain करेंगे, and let's get into a 10-year contract that you'll have to pay us this much, this much, this much money. Imagine a Japanese lift company, if it thinks, I'm giving an idea, it's a business suggestion. If a Japanese business company, Japan, which has got helicopter money, flush with funds. So lack of business growth can be, changed into a huge opportunity to make more money. Mergers and acquisitions can lead to transformation, change for business transformation, because cultures have to come together. It is complex. Activities need to be merged. Some activities may be duplicate. For example, a lot of new banks are merging nowadays, public sector banks. This will lead to business transformation. Some head office activities are common, IT systems are common, finance functions are common, premises can be rationalized, sales and marketing functions can be looked at. Another factor is new business leadership. A new business leadership might want to change the current organization to match a preferred way of working, or implement a new business strategy or goal they want to achieve. New business leadership. So whenever, invariably, if you see Yes Bank, when it was being run by Rana Kapoor, and now it is being run by a CEO mandated by the Reserve Bank of India. So they are changing, transforming it to main business revenue to come from retail business, and not from just one or two or three big industrial or account. main business should accrue from retail business. It will require transformation. You will have to have more people who will be chasing retail business, auto loan, housing loan, all these things. When another factor is if the customer satisfaction is very low, and you may have to transform your business if the customers are not happy, if you're not able to retention, if you're not able to retain customers. The customer, if a customer of yours has bought a mobile phone from, let us say, your company, and after 2 years you have a feedback mechanism, and you see the company is going to, the customer is going to the other company. When I was changing my car, when I went to motor garages, MG Motors, Toyota did not allow me to go to them. You know, they keep on upgrading their products. Low customer satisfaction leads to business transformation. Rising customer expectations leads to business transformation. Political climate can also lead to a business transformation. For example, Brexit, it's a new policy or regulation, it will impact business. It may trigger a need for change within the organization. Brexit. Or, for example, India's policy on China. So, suddenly you will find that a company like TikTok has gone. So other app companies may look for to grab that market share. So look, Facebook is trying its best to get into the small 2 minute, 3 minute video kind of a thing. A lot of new companies are coming in. Companies are changing their strategies. They are changing the business ownership pattern. So new new companies are giving off the ownership to more Indians. So these are the drivers for change. A question normally comes on this: what are the key drivers for business transformation, or what are the reasons for business transformation? So you have to give these points and you have to explain them. First, technology change; second, efficiency drive; need for cost reduction; lack of business growth; merger and acquisition; new business leadership; low customer satisfaction; rising customer expectations; political climate change. These are some of the reasons. So I hope I have been able to cover this aspect of business transformation in this section very well. Let me now explain through a diagram the various steps which an organization takes to achieve business transformation. First and foremost is strategy. Strategy, as you know, is a long term, it's perspective plan, it's a long term plan. An organization which is wanting to implement a change, it will need to have a clear vision of what they want when they think they have achieved this transformation. So when they think they have improved, what is it the picture? What is the big picture? What are the main changes in the organization they want to? They want people to see. They want their own employees to see. They want the stakeholders to see, investors, customers. So the vision should be aligned with the strategic goals and business case. Most important thing, all stakeholders have to be on the same page. Okay, this is very important. There is something called target operating model. So you have to, developing a strategy starts with the process of defining in your mind. You have to define in your mind, and you have to define, document as to where you want the business to be. So for example, I keep giving the example of ITC. So transformation strategy, Yogi Deveshwar said, I want my business, my company is more than 50% of the revenue to come from non-tobacco products. And then he started by closing that edible oil business, and he stopped that. Uh, he winded up uh, the financial company of ITC. So just like Steve Jobs, Steve Jobs, he closed 72 new products when he wanted to achieve a transformation. 72 existing products he dispensed with. So this is called the target operating model. which says where are you today, and where do you want to be, and how do you bridge this gap. This is vision. So to understand the current state of your business, you have to map out your people, your processes, and your system which support the delivery of your product to your customers. So this also helps you to identify uh, how you need to ramp up, how you need to ramp up to move further to achieve your business strategy. After you have defined the strategy, you have to establish a leadership team. I remember when I was working for Indian Oil, uh, it was and Mr. Subir Raha was the director personnel. At that time, the chairman IOC had defined this. No, Subir Raha was executive director North, and he had set out a program called uh, Vision 2000, and he had set it out in the year 1992, 1993, and he said, in 2020, this is how I want my petrol stations to look like. And he appointed, the first thing he did was he appointed a manager for Vision 2000 in the region, and under the and he in each divisional office he appointed a person by whom he called retail merchandising person, who was responsible, a young officer who was responsible for achieving Vision 2000. So appointing leaders to provide oversight and support for the transformation program is the key. A program director is normally appointed to take overall responsibility of ensuring that the transformation is delivered smoothly and it is delivered within budget. Very important, within budget. The program director will need to have the right experience and capability, so you have to choose this very carefully. Recently, one of my friends has been given he's the transformation director for a very big telecom tower company, and he's in charge for whole Southeast Asia. But the leadership has to drive this. So the CEO is the most likely sponsor of this change. And second person who's very important is CFO, the Chief Finance Officer, because transformations are generally undertaken to achieve business objectives, and also to achieve the economies of scale, to increase profitability, and to increase productivity. So CFO also is one of the sponsors, and this transformation director, he's the one who's involved in the month to month, day to day transformation exercise. So clear cut leadership is required to be established, and the leadership has to be empowered, and everybody has to be told explicitly to listen to this transformation director or program director, and everybody should abide by the transformation director's advice. The third most important step is planning and scoping. So a clear strategy will inform the development of a detailed transformation roadmap to help the company achieve the vision, to help the company achieve the transformation objectives. The implementation plan determines the change that needs to be made, when the change is to be made, the outline of all sub projects that make up the transformation program. So, you will have to break the entire program into small sub programs and or sub projects. Each sub project should have clear objective, clear milestone, scope, time frame, and budget. So, clear objective of each sub program, milestone. Milestone means by this time this should be achieved. This should be achieved. What should be achieved? The milestone. Scope. Who all will get involved? Time frames, because without the timelines, a program is just like a running stream which is going haywire. And the budget, it is also important to identify all the work streams, all the functional areas, people, processes, and systems that will be affected or will get involved in the transformation. So, because some people will get rattled, some departments will suddenly start to feel that they are less empowered, some will feel they are getting more importance. So, the people side of the transformation also is the key. The people within uh, inverted comma people, the people side is very important. Communication is very important. How you communicate why this change is being done, how you communicate why this change is necessary and how is it good for the future. Communication is also a part of planning and scoping. The next important step is to set up the program management. By setting off the program management or the program management office, it is called PMO. I am reminded of my days in Reliance Retail when the project management office was set up. The program director can establish program governance. See, once again, by setting up of a PMO, which is Program Management Office, a program director can establish the program governance, manage all parties involved in the delivery, and adapt and flex the transformation roadmap where necessary to keep the program on the track. So the program management office keeps a track of all substreams, ops, all subdivisions as to if things are going in the right manner, and the program management office apprises the program director, who in turn will tell the transformation supervisor, sponsor. Transformation supervisor, I told you, will have to be the CEO and the CFO team. So leaders should be appointed in each individual work stream. For example, in IT, HR, and finance to manage the transformation. It is important they are all aligned to the transformation goals, and they have capacity build up is there. They have the right skills to inspire teams and make the changes happen. That brings us to the next step, which is to build resources. You have to empower each and every stream. You have to build resources for them. By building resources, what do we mean? Sometimes it may be possible that if you have to transform the company, then you need to transform each of the streams. Expertise may not be available, the capability may not be there, the bandwidth may not be there. So sometimes you will even have to appoint external consultants to help you run through this program. Uh, many times I have seen in case of business transformation, outside consultants are hired. Many change management companies like McKinsey or Ernst and Young, they are hired and they handhold the departmental heads to go through the process of transformation. So to build resources is very important. Just as you build resources, it is also important. It is also important that the people don't feel left out. Everyone feels enthusiastic about the transformation process. It is the primary duty of the transformation director or the transformation management office to ensure that everybody is carried along, and a sense of a sense of uh, morale boosting is there, rather than people feeling demoralized due to the process of transformation. So after you have given the resources, the process of transformation execution starts in each stream, in each division. Staff management is the key, as will be the ability to flex and adapt to the new challenges. The program management office will need to reassess and evaluate implementation regularly. Suppose you need to do a course correction, you need to do it. So each stream, each division will have this execution, and in the end you have to integrate all projects together into one larger project. Because unless integration, for example, integration of payroll, data analysis, financial control systems, they all have to be in know of one another's activities if you want your finance function to work properly. And if you want your finance function to work for the broader objective of the corporate, You need the finance and the marketing and the HR and the project team all to be aligned. So these are some of the steps which are taken, or the process of business transformation. I would like to emphasize here that you must know you must know when to take action. Sometimes you have to hold back. Sometimes when you realize things are in trouble, you need tempers to cool down. You need people again to sit and explain to it. So you need to know when to take action. The transformational leadership is very, very important. Very, very important. The integrated approach has to be taken to people, to process, to systems. You need to ensure that you have been able to create that structure. Sometimes some people call it superstructure. I would like to call it a structure across all substreams, and you have provided people adequate resources. You have to, focus on the bandwidth, because when you are doing a transformation, you cannot allow your current business to get derailed. So there is something called BAU, business as usual. When we were integrating Axon on mobile, we also ensured that the daily business should not bother about what is going to be the big picture after 1 year. Continue your business as usual, because unless the regular stream is there, you may die before transformation happens. So, you need to have some interim executives who are very good at looking at the current scenario and projecting the future. And these experts, they must look at the bandwidth of the people. uh, you cannot you cannot give a person a responsibility which is not commensurate with his abilities. Abilities also differ. If somebody has been in a particular function for many years and he has not been exposed to another function, then you need to have patience with him. Your exercise of transformation must create a clear vision, and that clear vision should be known to all. You have to understand that internal capability for transformation may not be there. So you have to, in which case you will have to hire outside consultants. The importance of pace. How are you pacing your transformation? So often, something which you want, which can be achieved in 2 years' time, are you trying to achieve that in 6 months? Because transformation can also be organic transformation, which are slow transformations. So you have to take care of, you have to continuously engage with your internal staff. Continuously engage with your internal staff. You have to reassess and re-evaluate your process. So these are some of the things which are important in transformation. So I hope I've been able to explain to you the process of transformation and what are the steps taken to get this transformation process right. In this last leg on transformation, let us now try to see what are the various obstacles for organization transformation. And I have listed 10 reasons. First and foremost is strategic vision related challenges. Transformation, as I said, I gave you the example of where the organization is, what are the people, processes, and current state of affairs, and where you want to be. So, where you want to be is the strategy. So, there can be strategic vision related challenges. Not all leadership may be as clairvoyant or not as matured to arrive at a proper strategy or a proper strategic vision. For example, suppose you are an oil company, and you know that oil is not inexhaustible, and that the it's very difficult to just remain a upstream oil company, because you have to go by various regulations of the country where you are operating. So you would like to diversify. This is your strategic vision, but in which area to diversify? For a long time, Exxon Mobil has always been, it used to be Fortune 1 company for many years. But it always used to think about where to go. Sometimes it thought it should go to the business of, in the business of hoteliering. It should go into the business of computers, what have you. So there is strategic vision related challenges are there. You are not able to understand where do you want to diversify. So then the status quo remains. Second is the core versus non-core issue. By this, what I mean to say, when you are driving a transformation exercise, there could be some core issues which you would like to tackle, and along the way, some non-core issues can come, which can sap away, which can sap you energy-wise. So the transformation manager, instead of being involved with the process of transformation, he may fritter away his time, energy, and resources in non-core issue. Then third is leadership issue in dealing with huge complexity. Transformation is not simple; it is a complex issue. So the leadership may not be there in the organization. The current leadership may not be there, which is fully prepared to handle the transformation, even though there is a vision, isn't it? It's possible that even though there is vision, the top management or the top board of the company or the leadership of the company, the management of the company is not equipped to handle such a complex issue. Then can be unknown, then there is unknown current state. By unknown current state, I mean current state and strategic state which you want to achieve. You are not sure where are you exactly. In the near future, is your market going to decline? What are the other forces? And that links me to the next step, competitive forces. Your competitive forces can also drive your strategic vision. You don't know how well equipped they are in terms of their own strategy. Do they have a new technology or a new game changing business plan which can render all your transformation process useless? So, what is your current state vis-a-vis the state of the industry? Is it that the industry will die? It's possible, no? Telegram is dead. Telegram as an industry is dead. General Motor has invested in uh, Lyft. It's a company, it's a cab hailing company. It's a right step. Big corporates can see, after all, who's going to be your competitor. The the theater business, cinema halls have competitors in OTT, over the top streaming of movies. So television has a competitor. The television news channels have a competitor in the mobile phone apps. So every television channel is on YouTube. So these are competitive forces, and the technology, the game is changing so fast. You're not able to understand what is your current state and how is it this current state relevant to the future state. There are integration challenges and resistance to change. Integration challenges means departmental problems can be there. If your transformation, for example, in case of Netflix, the entire operational model changed. In case of Apple, it was a strategic business transformation. So that means Macintosh will contribute only 1 or 2% of the total revenue, and whole new divisions will come up. They will be set up. Look at Reliance today. Entire emphasis on Reliance Jio, but because of the leadership vision, they are all able to integrate the company. Resistance to change. Management which has been well entrenched is not so easy to change them. It's not easy to dislodge old people. Seventh is weak sponsor engagement. I told you the sponsor is the CEO and the CFO, and then there is a transformation director. So if the engagement of the CEO is weak, the transformation director cannot do much. There could be budget constraints. You have thought about a transformation exercise, but you don't have the resources to carry it out. You underestimated the resources which are required for the transformation. Then within the transformation team, there could be lack of clearly empowered roles and responsibilities. So the transformation director For example, can he uh, persuade the marketing manager to adopt a certain strategy instead of, can he tell the marketing team to put more emphasis on the digital advertising rather than the traditional media of the traditional way of advertising? So if the roles are not defined, it's a challenge, because business as usual has to be there, but yet the transformation execution starts. Last 10th, what I think it is most important is communication challenge. Transformation can lead to demoralization in the entire workforce if you don't communicate why this transformation exercise is being taken place or why certain changes are being made. So these are the 10 obstacles or challenges to organizational transformation: strategic vision related challenges, core versus non-core issues, leadership issues in dealing with huge complexity, unknown current state, competitive forces, integration challenges and resistance to change, weak sponsor engagement, that means the weak CEO engagement, budgetary constraints, budget constraints, lack of clearly empowered roles and responsibilities, and last but not the least, communication challenges.